Why were most slaves in the New World Africans, especially considering West Africa is thousands of miles away from the Americas and Europe? Slavery has existed in multiple forms throughout history and across a wide variety of cultures. But slavery in the early Americas, meaning the North American colonies, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, was ultimately powered by the labor of enslaved Africans and their descendants. And there's an important question many people don't stop to ask. Why Africans? There was nothing inherent to the social or psychological makeup of West Africans and their descendants in the 17th through 19th centuries that made them more prone to enslavement. So, to get to the heart of our question, we should first ask ourselves, why did Europeans set out to colonize the Americas to begin with? Okay, so before I dive into the answers to these questions, I think it's important to note that there is no such thing as benevolent slavery, since any system that's predicated on the exploitation and extraction of labor through violence and force cannot be considered fair. However, the purpose of this rough timeline is to sketch a comparison without creating hierarchical values of assessing harm inflicted on enslaved people. To set the scene of the early American colonies, European powers such as Spain, followed by Portugal, the Dutch, British, and French, ventured out in search of conquest and capital. Their early explorations of the Americas, starting in 1492 and continuing up until the 18th century, weren't driven by wanderlust and a desire for adventure, no matter what Disneyfied versions of colonization we learned in the movie Pocahontas. Instead, they were looking for one primary thing: wealth. And this could mean gold and silver, or it could mean land, farmland, and commercial crops. The driving incentive for exploration was to increase European power and to fatten the royal coffers. But initially, slavery was not the source of this wealth. The early Spanish colonists to Central and South America in the 16th century wrested control of silver and gold mines that had been controlled by Incan and Aztec empires. By forcing native groups to extract silver and gold from the mines they had already established, colonists were able to meet their desires for high profits with low labor costs, aka no labor costs, because they weren't exactly intent on paying anyone. And the colonists were brutal. By working native people to death, cutting off limbs if they didn't extract enough materials quickly, or threatening them with murder, the Spanish were able to increase their mining efforts in these regions and to meet their specific demand for increased wealth throughout the 16th century. And despite European expectations, in other regions like North America or the Caribbean, there weren't huge repositories of gold and silver to send back to Europe. But even though there was little precious metal to be found, the monarchies and the early colonists who arrived in these areas were equally intent on yielding high profits. So they turned to crops that yielded high profits like sugar, tobacco, rice, and later cotton. In order to assure the highest profits, they began to look to slavery, since European laborers and indentured servants required payment or other forms of protection. So next we have to ask, when did colonists in the Americas turn to the African continent as a site for extracting slaves? The first enslaved Africans arrived in the North American colonies under control by the British, the areas that would later become part of the US, in 1619, when 20 were forcibly transported to Jamestown, Virginia by the Dutch. But the first enslaved Africans had arrived in the Caribbean and Latin America prior to that, starting as early as the first decade of the 16th century. Because remember folks, the colonies established in the Americas, plural, cover South, North, and Central America, plus the Caribbean, and not just the present-day U.S. But the transportation of African people into slavery began before the colonization of the Americas. According to an article by Professor Dr. Hakim Adid, the Portuguese began enslaving Africans in the 15th century when they arrived on the African continent for the purposes of trade. Around that time, they were enslaved Africans, among other enslaved and free populations, in Portugal. So even though it wasn't the only or necessarily most widespread form of slavery at the time, this 15th century precedent would set the stage for later decisions surrounding slavery that were to come in during colonization in the Americas. But at that point in time, captivity wasn't extended exclusively to Black people or people from the African continent, and was often the result of raids, warfare, or slave trading that included Islamic traders, West African groups, and Europeans, among others. Okay, so we've established the precedents leading up to the explosion of the West African slave trade. So our final question is, why did European colonists start to look exclusively at West Africans as a source of slave labor? And how did the emergence of chattel slavery in the Americas differ from pre-existing forms? Remember that the colonies were established to make money for royal families and wealthy colonists. And a small class of wealthy colonists who owned large plantations looked to increase their margins through not paying for the labor that generated their cash crops. So it wasn't that slavery was needed to develop the colonies, but rather that it was decided that this was the quickest way to enrich the people invested in getting rich. Black slaves continued 18th century. And it wasn't until the 19th century that slavery began to be eradicated. However, by this point, there was a large slave population in the Americas, and the condition of slavery was considered legally hereditary, with children taking the status of their mothers in perpetuity. When Europeans arrived in the Americas, colonists found that the previously established system that relied on enslaving conquered enemies was not functioning for several key reasons. Namely, first, early attempts in the Americas to enslave Native Americans proved difficult because they had familiarity with the terrain of their own nations and land. As a result, the potential for escape or revolt was high. This made using a system of leading raids and then enslaving whoever lost the battle less achievable, since colonists had little to no idea how to survive in these new regions and often fell prey to diseases which Europeans had no immunity to, namely malaria. The subsequent rampant genocide of Native American people and the introduction of new diseases that decimated their population, namely smallpox from Europe, made widespread enslavement less possible. But by transporting people from West Africa to the Americas, European colonists wanted greater ability to control enslaved populations by making escape more challenging and reducing the risk of those who did flee blending into neighboring native nations. Although the fact that there continued to be slave revolts amongst enslaved Africans and their descendants proves that this calculation was often mistaken. Second, West Africa was often the source of forced and kidnapped laborers because of its proximity to seaports, which made contact between these three locations more possible. Also, laborers from West African countries were more familiar with the agricultural methods needed for mass cultivation of these kinds of crops in the New World. So, how does it all add up? Well, even though the slave trade brought an estimated 9 to 12 million people here from Africa as cargo, colonists eventually resorted to reproduction in the colonies as a method for sustaining slavery. This meant that slavery could be passed down as an inherited status from mother to child. And to justify this never-ending enslavement, we started to see the evolution of false race science and racialization used as a justification for why one group of people, specifically people of African descent, were the only ones who could be enslaved. But this shift erased the reality that prior to turning to West Africa as a labor source, slavery existed across racial lines and was dictated more by battles and military capture than by skin tone. The resulting idea we had about race evolved out of a desire by people engaging in the slave trade to find an after-the-fact justification for enslaving people from one specific region over others. This history of racialization is covered in our episode on the origins of race in the USA, so check that out if you want to learn more. So, what do you think? Got anything to add to this historical puzzle? Any other resources or thoughts to share? Drop them down below, since this is obviously a much bigger timeline than I was able to fully cover today, and be sure to dig down into the works cited to keep reading. So that's it for now, and we'll see you next week. Hey guys, thanks for chiming in on last week's episode about shaving. Here's what some of you had to say. Kelsey Ayongo on Facebook pointed out that in the medieval period, it was considered fashionable for
Hello, morning, Sano. Here we are talking about slavery and colonialism. Are they cousins? Are they related? How many of us actually conflate issues, don't understand what slavery is and was meant to be, and how many actually understand what colonialism is? What is colonialism? That's the question. Yesterday, we visited this with Kwame Masimba, trying to unplug the true meaning of colonialism. What we established is that colonialism necessarily must involve two countries. One, the colonizer, and two, the colonized. Yet, the reality of colonialism does not change the fact of what a country is and what a country is not. A country cannot cause any human being to do that which they wish to do in their own self-interest. A country does not possess self-interest, but individuals do. So how can a country cause somebody to do something that the individual does not personally benefit from? This is a question for you to address and to answer. Yeah, Zeti says, is the settlement of foreign land. What does that involve, Zeti? How do you settle foreign land? When it's foreign, you can't settle. Who settles? Is it the individual or the agent of a foreign country? If the relationship of agent to principal existed, in what form did it exist? Perhaps you can educate us so that we improve our own literacy about things that you and I have no personal knowledge about. There could be very well be a case that you are familiar with in which an individual who chose to leave Europe and settle in another state could possibly have been reduced to an agent of that foreign state. How does that work? Is this conversation useful? If so, how best can we create clusters where we interrogate the very idea of what colonialism is and perhaps what it is not? What is colonialism? Because what Zeti is talking about is settlement in foreign land, because the person who settles has to vacate the place of birth and has to enter into another host country separate from the place that they were born. That movement itself requires some understanding. Then the lism part deals with the politics in control of the foreign land, settled land. How does it work when the people in the said foreign land are separate and distinct and separated from the country so deemed to be the colonizer? Perhaps you have some intelligence that is informed by your own experience or experiences that would give rise to this idea of one controlling the politics of another. If you need water in Canada, then that need is intermediated through a human being by a foreign state, where the settlers are self-interested or they were caused to be interested to settle. When they left their home country or the place of birth, what informed that decision? Were they forced or they were part of a contract? If the contract existed, in what form did it exist? I'm not sure whether this conversation is of interest. To me, it is very interesting and intriguing, allows us as individuals to take a rear view perspective on what could have happened, what happened, and what is possible and what is not possible, given the true nature of human life and the self-interest in it, that most people, individuals, would pursue their own interest. And there's no occasion where a country or a sovereign can cause another person to leave a place of birth and go to another area, and unless the person so involved has got his own dreams or her own dreams, and in pursuing them, they end up living and residing in a foreign state where civics becomes important, and how to build institutions to support life in the area so settled. If there is any concrete proof of a person who was caused to do something in history by a sovereign, please share that empirical evidence so that we can be able to test it with what we see as the human spirit, what causes human beings to want to move from point A to point B. Can you cause somebody to move from point A to point B simply as an agent to do that which they have no stake or skin in doing? So that's the topic of today. Any forced, e.g., the Boers left during the Civil War, yet the British, it was more of a contract, the settlement in South African land. Where is that contract with the individual? Who signed it? And how was it performed? What was the nature of the rights and obligations of the two contracting parties? If you have seen some contract that was concluded between the individual settlers and another party called the sovereign or the British government, please share that so that we may be able to put it into perspective. To date, I have not seen any contract. And even the Boers who left, my understanding is that they paid for their own way to find themselves in another place, whether you call it South Africa, you call it another country, to reside. Just as this phenomena is continued to take place in respect of the diaspora, you have Indians born in India who leave India either in search of greener pastures, and they find themselves out of India, financing their own way, arriving, finding ways to survive, to integrate themselves into new communities, and then find their way up the opportunity ladder wherever they are. But I have yet to see an instance where a human being becomes an agent of another and then lives life in the shadow of somebody else and thrives under that bondage. And what kind of contract said? If you have a copy of that contract, I've been looking for it, and I think it would benefit a lot of us if it exists, so that we know what the terms and conditions of that contract and who was subject to that contract, if it does exist. In the case of Boers, I think you're saying that they left, and when they left, they could have left without any contract, I suppose. But if you have evidence of a contract, that would then tie them to another government and settle on behalf of somebody else and live life on behalf of another person. I think bring them on so that we all can benefit from your enlightened wisdom. I don't have that wisdom. I don't have the knowledge. And as such, I cannot claim that I know what I don't know. But anyone who knows this to be fact, I think it's important that we share those facts. So that's, for me, a departure point, unless you may have any other issues that you wish to add to this point, which I can allow for the next, 5 minutes, and then so that I can know what I don't know already, and others who are following this or who may have the opportunity of following this conversation may also learn from your input or your contribution. So if you have anything to say, you got contracts given to people as payment of passages. If you have a copy of it, the work on the colony was to pay out the passage. After you work out the passage, you are free. This is a contract not between a government, but this is a contract for services rendered for the passage. That passage had nothing to do with what is called colonialism or defined as colonialism. because a settler would then be an agent. But if you're saying that there was a contract and you pay forward, then that's fine. This was done in many colonies where payment, who were the contracting parties that I don't know who the contracting parties. And if you have a copy of that contract, let's see who were the parties to that contract. If it's passage, the person will be paying for services rendered to move from point A to point B, which is the travel cost, and then figure out when you arrive how best you can pay for it. So that would be seem to be a commercial transaction involving two sovereign parties. One, the person who gives the contract. Are you saying there are no colonies? I'm not saying I want evidence. Say what you want to say. I don't know what a colony is. I just want to try to better understand what a colony is, what colonialism is. If there's a colony, then there must be instruments to make it real, but it would not involve sovereign, self-acting people who then move from point A to point B and cut their bonds or bonds with the countries where they came from, with relatives and everyone, and start a life wherever they arrive. So if that is the case of migration, of settlement, and residence, then let's talk about residence, let's talk about settlements, let's talk about passage as separate phenomena which are still going on today. You still have people who are moved from point A to point B. Some people may call it human trafficking. A colony is land settled on by a foreigner. How does a human being become a foreigner when you have settled, when you have chosen to settle? You are still you. You still have to fend for yourself. So a colony is not, it's just a place. It doesn't become a colony because you call it a colony. What is this colony all about? The colony factor. Let us dig deeper, appreciate what a colony is and what a colony is not. A point B where you arrive when you left point A, why would you describe it as a colony when you are the person who arrives and you have no promise where you arrive? You still have to fend for yourself and be creative on your own and build institutions to serve you. Why would you build institutions to serve others when you need running water, when you need electricity, when you need to build communities? You build communities where you have arrived, not where you came from, because where you came from, you have left those behind you. So if you have an example of a person who became foreign when he arrived and ceased to become the human being that they were, then bring them on. Because I don't know what you know. If you know something, please share it. Because both of us were not alive when these practices were alleged to have taken place. And who became a settler. Okay, let's start from your side, Mtuma. Where do you stand on what colonialization is? I stand on the fact that I don't know what it is. I wish I knew. I've been searching for that understanding. I have not found any dictionary that explains exactly what this term is. What I've seen is a convoluted explanation dealing with one country conquering another, and I find myself at a loss. The records are there, to my way. Please give us the records that you have seen. I have seen people settling, people living, self-asserting, formed self-government, to become responsible on their own and build ecosystem, build their communities when they did arrive. So I don't know what you know, Zed. If you know of the records that establishes this movement of people, not as principals, but as agents of others, please share that, because it's an important part of history. I can't argue with it if it exists, but what I'm not prepared to do is to argue with fiction where people become experts on things that they don't know anything about without digging deeper, using their common sense, reason, and logic, so that we all can arrive at the same destination of shared understanding. Right now, I don't believe me and you, Zeti, have any shared understanding on what this animal called, that is called colonialism or colonialist or whatever it is, or colony is and is not. If we don't have a shared understanding, then there's nothing wrong in admitting that we don't have a shared understanding. And then from there, we can then choose to build communities where we develop this understanding of this relationship between the individual and other individuals and other countries, and see how does it manifest itself in real practice. So I am not here to argue with you if you have records. All I say is be my guest. Can you send me the link? Which link, Zeti? Okay, I hope you mean the same link that I hope it's not a link to invest in an argument, because I don't know. And when I say I don't know, I really don't know. I don't have better answers. So even talking to me will not produce any better answer. It will just produce the same answer that I'm giving you. What is colonialism? Does it exist? If it does, in what form does it exist? And then it can allow us to dig deeper to find the real construction of colonialism. What is it and what it is not? And I cannot answer the question, but I can only test this idea of colonialism with what I know of myself, whether I would be willing to leave one country to go to another as an agent of a country and being caused by some other human beings to vacate where I live and delivered where I don't have anything in common and no interest in being part of the new order where I arrive. And if that exists, then we have to create a new understanding of the laws of nature and what is creation and what is the human spirit and how far it can stretch and what causes human beings to act the way they act, to dream the way they dream, and to act on their dreams. I don't have better answers. And if I don't have better answers, then I must admit that I don't know what I don't know. But if there's somebody who knows what I don't know, I'm all ears. I'm not going to argue with anybody who knows better or who pretends to know better, as long as it's convincing. So let's hear what that is saying.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Mtuma. How are you?
How are you?
Not bad, big man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're failing to understand each other. Is it the problem, the word colony, as in terms of migration of people?
I don't even know what it means, because whatever I've searched all over, tried to understand what is a colony is, and I couldn't find any explanation that meets the test of common sense, logic, and reason, unless you find something that.
Okay. If we are going to break down the word colony itself, it means settlement on land.
All
as
right.
in terms of in Latin, yeah.
But who settles? Is it the individual or the country?
That no. That is before even the countries or the countries are involved. Yeah. So we're going with the breakdown of the word colony or colonization. Yeah.
But what is a colony? Maybe let's check. What does the dictionary say?
At this moment, I'm using the same device that I'm on with you. You can check if it's possible. Yeah.
Colony, a board of people living in a new territory, but retain ties with the parent state. That's one definition.
Yes. So we have to go to the original the origins of the word colonization or colony.
Then we'll start or area controlled politically by a more powerful country that is far away.
Yes. So we have to go back. We have to go back again to the original meaning of the word, where the word is derived from.
Colonia, meaning settled land.
Yes.
Farm. Colon can also mean a group of people who have gathered to live near each other.
Yes. So it does not in the today's world that we're looking at. If you say the word colonization or colony, we think traveling overseas and everything else, but it actually meant settling on a land. Yeah. So it does not matter whether you have not passed any seas, you have not passed any rivers. Simply the settlement of people. Yeah. Do you agree?
No, I am saying that according to what the
origin of the word is.
Yeah, colonia, that is just a mere factual record.
A settlement on land.
Of people who get related to land from where they are accustomed to, where they are born.
Yes. So in that instant, that word can relate to you. That word can relate to me as an individual. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's
because we've moved from the place that we were born from.
Yeah.
So at this moment,
it doesn't make the place change its character.
Not yet.
No rivers, it won't have rivers because we have arrived.
Yes, not yet.
Yeah.
So the word keeps on being used. Then we have the ideas of colonization when the word starts to kick in. Yeah. But before the word kicks in of colonization, there was one important word that was used before that. What is it called? Imperialism or imperialist. Imperialist. That is derived from the Roman times, where one nation conquers another nation. Yeah. Or
what does one nation conquer another?
No. That is my mistake. Not one nation conquering another nation. It might mean a group of people conquering a group of people, or a nation conquering a group of people.
How do you conquer another human being?
You take over.
Let's say right now we are talking to each other. How do I take you over?
At this moment in time, it is physically impossible.
No, even then, how would it be possible for a human being?
So we are talking about at that time when it was placed on. We're talking about wars. Mostly.
No, but even after war, how do I take you over? Because
you'll be ruling me then. You're ruling. Yeah, go ahead.
As a human being, you are endowed with certain unalienable rights.
Yeah, that is later on, Mr. Mdum. When we became so civilized to say.
In the beginning of creation, you are created in a class of your own called a human being. Whether you're black, white, it doesn't matter. You are sovereign. Yes. Like now, you decided to add your voice into this.
Yes.
You were not forced. That was your election.
That's true.
And so that is your sovereignty. I can't cause you to come here and for you, and you cease to be you.
Yes, but you are jumping timelines, Mr.
No, I'm saying is in the beginning of time. Let's look at the laws of nature and say you are created with the power to reason.
Yes.
The
And let's look at the disadvantages of being a human being. The want to control. Yeah.
No,
one village controls another village.
Does not arise because I can't control you. Even if we sleep in the same bed, I can't control you. I have no mechanism of controlling you.
So you're saying what you're saying, Mr. Mduma, is in the beginning, one village could not turn around and take over another village and control another village.
You can pretend to marry somebody and say, I've taken over somebody. She's now my.
We are still in the.
I cannot. Sovereignty is indivisible. I cannot have liberty.
But sovereignty becomes later on, Mr. Mduma. Not in this timeline that we're talking about.
The person who created a human being already understood that a human being cannot be outsourced.
But then there was no rules about that.
No, I'm saying is in the beginning. Do you agree that somebody had a blueprint of what a human being is, as opposed to a baboon?
Somebody means a human being.
No, I'm saying that a human being is a human being, has certain properties that define you as a human being, and those properties are unalienable. I can't you have half an elephant and half a human being.
For me to have a sovereignty, yeah, for me to even have that name, it means someone has to turn around and in the beginning would have turned around and disturbed my sovereignty for that name to be created. No, if we are all sovereign, therefore there is no point of the word being there.
That's right. I'm saying you are already sovereign. Just by participating here, it's an act of sovereignty. I don't think you're forced by anyone to participate here. So if I take that the beginning of time, then individuals by nature, you can take me to the river, but you can't make me drink.
But I can hold you down, Mr. Mduma, and make you drown, then you're drinking.
No, I'm saying he's not drinking, he's drowning.
Yes, but you're still drinking.
No, you're not drinking. Drinking is a different thing.
No, Mr. Mduma. We're talking about taking in of water, yeah?
No, yeah, then you show us that experience where people were taking water.
Okay, this is what I'm trying to explain. This is what I'm trying to explain. So, in the beginning, for us to have sovereignty, yeah, for that word to be there, means there was some infringement of the word before it was there. Yeah.
No, I'm saying that is part of the gift of nature. But you are either a human being or you are not. And when you are a human being, you have rights that draw from that creation.
Yes.
You have the right to pursue happiness.
Yes. And for that right
of life,
yes,
right to life, and the right to liberty.
Yes. So for those rights to be there, yeah. Let's look at the three rights that you placed on, yeah. Those remind me of the rights that the Americans still hold today, yeah.
Not the Americans. That's the right.
I'm giving an example. As the Americans those are the rights.
Declaration
before the Civil War, those rights were not there. Do you agree? They were not enshrined.
No, they were there. It's just
but they were not enshrined.
No,
they were not scribed down.
No, they just declared that we hold this truth to be self-evident, even for a foolish king, that all men are created equal, not by the king.
Yes.
Yeah, and
what made them do that?
Yeah.
What made them do that?
They were being taxed
for
income that was earned.
But they were sovereign, Mr. Mduma. Were they not sovereign?
No, they were sovereign, but they consented to it. Because some of them who left earlier, they left on the basis that they were going there as part of an extension of some empire.
As part of an extension to go and do what, Mr. Mduma? To go and colonize. Yeah?
No, colonize, to live for themselves. But because they were...
Hold on, Mr. Mduma. Let's use the word that we've discovered, yeah? To say on land is to colonize, yeah?
No.
Before the politics is entered.
Settlement is settlement.
But we just
colonization.
But we went back and said the origin of the word colonization is purely to settle on land before we started corrupting it as human beings.
You have
Yeah.
to settle, not because of anyone else. You
Yes,
have
but
to
you
protect yourself. But
but
you
you
can't
say
say I was caused to live or to talk on this
but you
show.
said it, but you said it, Mr. Mtuma, that they were what? They were sent, yeah, by
No,
the
they were
king
not sent. They left on their own.
without the king's agreement.
No, the king would have to finance. He'd be bankrupt.
So the king financed the moving, yeah.
No, they financed on their own, looking for greener pastures. When they arrived there, then they were smart
Yes.
oaks who thought they were representatives of the king. Then started taxing them. They said, forget
Why would someone who's as you said as your argument started in the beginning, that is sovereign even on mind, sovereign even on thinking?
It's like some of the delusionary people say we want to tax people in the diaspora. Have you ever heard that? Yeah? And they say, because you are my product, you are my asset.
No, but
or our people are in the UK. Who can you call your people?
But if we're going to solve this, we have to go step by step, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying let's start with creation.
Let's start with creation.
The blueprint of life
Okay.
gave us a dominionship over other creatures.
No.
All right.
Completely no. Let me say why. Because we are going with the Bible stance. Yeah. Hence why the dominion over other creatures. Okay. Yeah. But we are creatures as well. We have got no dominion. The only dominion that we started having was to turn around and occupy other creature spaces. Yeah. And have the same sickness that we have as human beings to control other so-called entities or creatures, even if we are creatures ourselves. To agree where our problem starts as human beings, our virus mentality starts.
I was not there. I was just trying to imagine the blueprint.
Yes, but you can still imagine, Mr. Duma, yeah?
I've not been privileged to know.
Let's use
creator. But what I do know is that a human being is a human being, and the power to reason is vested in the individual.
Okay. Then the domination. What about the domination of other animals or creatures?
No, you know how expensive it is to dominate that.
Yes, why he has to be financed by empires.
Imagine I had to dominate you. I'll be dead because I would have to police you 24 hours.
Yes, but if you then have the powers and the finance of the other empires, it will be very easy to dominate me, depending on what you're going to get.
Because it's too much homework. Imagine dominate your thought, like now we are talking, I dominate what you have to say in response. Then why do I need you?
But the homework was already done by other empires.
No, only thing you had done, but because it will replicate itself. Because right now I'm talking to you, and I have no idea of what is in your mind.
Yes, that's true.
And I can never control what is in your mind.
Yes.
And you just have to express what you think. If you don't like what I'm saying, you just that's what it is. You don't have to argue.
But at this moment in time, Mr. Mtuma, there's no dominance. Yeah.
No, the dominance is a foreign creature. It's a mischievous creature. It assumes the other person is dominatable or whatever.
Do we agree that it's a disease that only affects human beings?
No, you can't dominate a human being by nature and by blueprint.
So
it's a false term.
So what you're saying is domination is not there.
No, domination does not exist. It exists in the sphere or in the realm of imagination.
Okay. I see where you're going. So domination is an illusion.
It doesn't even have an illusion. It's just a nullity.
Is power real, Mr. Mtuma?
No. How do you have power over a human being? Can
No.
you imagine?
So domination, power, they are not real.
No, they're not real.
So you're saying that those ones that feel as if they are dominated, they are the ones with the mental illness.
They should just look at themselves. If you are in a prison, yes. If you are a free person, then please wake up and do what you need to do.
What if a country has been made into a prison?
No, how do you do it without having the power to do it? Because you must, you know how expensive to keep prisoners. Imagine the whole country was prisoners.
Yes, they've done it before.
Just to keep animals in a zoo, how expensive it is.
Okay. So when let's jump let's say 1,000 years later.
Yeah.
The British are in control of South Africa at that time, Cape Town being
the British was never in control. That's a fallacy.
Okay.
The people in South Africa were self-governing, have their mayors.
Okay, let's use your term. The people in South Africa were self-governing themselves. Yeah. In the beginning, without and what would have made the Boers move to Transvaal when the Boers were there? When the Boers were there before the British.
Yeah, no.
For better land.
They were settlers in as much as Muzilikas and all these other people were migrating, killing each other, butchering each other. The British and the Boers were just human beings who were looking for autonomy.
So what about the concentration camps that were created by the British? That were placed, people that were placed in were the Boers and the natives that were there at that time.
Yeah,
that was nothing to do with the.
And did it succeed? It failed because it offends the human spirit.
No, Mister. No. You are jumping. Let's first acknowledge that it was there. Yeah.
No, it never controlled people. It's like you can't enslave Zeti. You can't slave the human spirit. It's not possible.
No. We're not talking about the human spirit here. We're talking about the physical human being, the physical human body before the spirit and the mind.
But it's not controlling anybody.
Yes, I know. You said a very important point. You said that is based on limitation when you're controlling the physical body. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can control me, and I might turn around and stay there. But
no, even get a little knife without you knowing. Then I say,
yes.
Come, boss.
But you cannot then control my thoughts of whether I want to run away tomorrow or not.
Even to kill you or to kill myself while you're sleeping.
Yes. So at the moment, let's deal with the physical control before we get to the mental control.
The physical. Yes, but it's just you have to invest in controlling.
Yes, because if we place it this way, Mr. Mtuma, yeah, if we deal with the physical control at this moment in time, because that's where everyone knows, yeah, then we can deal with the mental control as a solution to the physical control. How do you feel about that?
You can't control the mind. That's all I'm saying. You can control me and you can cage me. You can do whatever. But what I'm thinking and what I need to do, you can't control.
This is what I'm trying to say, Mr. Mtum. If we are dealing with the physical control, yeah, that we all know, or that most people think it happens, and they can give examples of it happening, yeah, we cannot run away from that fact. So what I'm trying to say is, let's then deal with the physical control and move on to the mental control, because the mental control then will be the solution to the physical control.
No,
does it make sense?
The two are not related. Mental.
They are.
No, I'm saying is your mind, Zeti, is the most complex asset known to man.
Yes. So my mind becomes the key to my escaping the physical control. Yeah.
No, the two are not related. I can go to my house as your daughter, and meanwhile the whole night I sleep somewhere else.
Okay. How can I put it? Do you remember the American-Japan War? Okay.
I don't remember. You can tell me.
Remember reading it. Sorry, reading it or seeing it or seeing some aspect of it on books.
Anything can be fiction.
No. But you remember the fiction that you saw or read?
I'm saying is that's a drama played by somebody, trying to portray one vision.
Okay. Let's take, for instance, a person who's arrested, Mr. Mtuma,
Yeah.
Serving life in a prison, prisoners have got a weird saying of trying to separate your physical body from your mental body,
How do you do?
Because as you said, the mind is an incredible organ.
No, you can't limit the human spirit or human mind.
Yes. So therefore, this is what I'm trying to lead to. That you can put me in a prison, but as long as my mind can wander, the total prison becomes when you imprison my own mind. Does it make sense?
No, you can't imprison it. My mind does not have legs.
No. It does not mean legs.
You can't detect what I'm thinking. So how can you limit me?
So, Mr. Mtuma, do you believe that there is something called psychotherapy?
I don't know. There are people who train in the bullshit. Yes, there are many.
Do you believe that there is something called propaganda, mental propaganda?
I don't know, because it doesn't have legs.
That's why I took you back to the American-Japan War. There was a famous, I can't remember the name of the prison now, a famous prison in Japan where he used to turn around and store American army people that they captured. It is famous for one reason, that it had no holes.
So, okay, I was going to stop earlier. I just wanted to provoke.
Sorry.
And you at least responded.
That's good. I know.
This subject merits discussion, interrogation.
Yes, but what I will suggest, Mr. Mtuma, is starting from the beginning, because you seem to have the solution to the problem. So starting from the beginning, so that we all understand where colonization started from.
I didn't even have anything. All I was. Somebody gave me a video yesterday of Professor Lumumba talking about Pan-Africanism, talking about Malema, Dr. Chukuburi, and somebody asked me for my opinion on colonialism.
And what was your opinion on colonialism, Mr.
That if you have a PhD and nonsense, then I wonder why it's important to have a PhD.
Okay.
So that's all I said, that if those you look up to for knowledge and wisdom behave as if they are superstitious, then why even go to school?
Okay, I see you. I see that.
So, so there are people who have left Africa, went all the way to America, but still talk as if they never left. Can you imagine?
It's human nature.
No, it's not human nature. Talk about your surroundings, what you know, what you see, what you feel. But don't try to import your mind into the 1.4 billion African people.
Mr. Mtuma, didn't you leave Zimbabwe but still talk about Zimbabwe?
No, that's what I've been trying to do all along, to say, don't talk about Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is too big. Talk about our conversation today, that we were talking about this, trying to investigate deeper, and that was me and you. That's enough. Just be a storyteller. Don't start compounding it and say my views are of a neo-colonialist or a buffoon, an idiot, a puppet, a surrogate, and then you cease to reason by calling other names.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Do you believe in what are your views in colonization vis-a-vis Pan-Africanism? Can one survive without the other?
All of them are bullshit. If you find someone calling you a Pan-Africanist, say, who told you I'm an African? The fact that I live in Africa, that should be enough. But don't call me that my mind is African.
No, not your mind is African. The
But
part
how
of
many people
Afghanistan.
think that there should be an African? We are Africans. We are this. It's our land. You look at the person. You say, okay, how did it become your land? Because I
No,
was born.
no,
It's
no,
my
think.
Zimbabwe. Then imagine someone goes to New Zealand, and 90% of the time he's talking about Zimbabwe. You say, but why did you live then?
Being born there without ownership does not make you. If you have ownership of the land, you
No,
can
ownership
then.
is another subject we need to talk about again. Does ownership exist?
In terms of
No, I'm saying it's for another
okay,
day.
okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
All I'm saying is, do you think these subject matters are important to interrogate and for views to be presented, not just one side?
Yes, I think it's important. It's important because
That's all.
as much as we're moving into a global stage at this moment in time, so we have to broaden our horizons, as they say.
Would you want to be part of that conversation or grouping, organized grouping like now settlers, not colonialists, who came and said, shit, do you want to be like these natives? They decided no, they wanted to import their lifestyle or how they saw other people they left living, how to build homes, how to be part of the civilization that they grew up in. And they did it on their own terms and obviously without the consent of the people they found there already. So just to build a synagogue, a temple, or a mosque of people who have interest only in not taking things at face value.
The interest you have to be clearly defined first.
No, nobody defines what they don't know. I'm just saying, if you have an interest in a
But
woman, you can't define
the
whether
builder of
she's a man or a woman.
The builder of the synagogue cannot just build a synagogue without knowing what the function of a synagogue is supposed to be.
No, that perhaps that's the first subject. Who knows what they don't know? It's like me. Did I know I was going to have a conversation with you?
No, but you pressed the live button, therefore you opened up possibility.
How could I have predicted that you were listening?
No, not me.
No, I'm just using you as an example. Me and you. Let's not talk about other people.
Okay, so let's use this life as the synagogue, yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying me and you.
And the button
here, yes. We just met here by accident. All
That's
I'm
true.
saying, we want to be part of an organized conversation so that we don't meet by accident.
This is what I'm trying to explain, Mr. Mtume. Yeah. So the platform that the live that you pressed, it becomes the building of the synagogue. Yeah. You did not know whether people were going to come or not going to come. Yeah.
That's right.
The parameters of the function of the synagogue, we placed it on there. We can see it together. It's called colonization. Yeah.
No, you're already going into the merits of the debate.
No. I'm going to the function of the synagogue when I came in today.
I'm saying that I didn't know.
Okay.
That you were going to be participating.
That's true.
And all I'm saying is, you want to be part of a community where issues of this nature are interrogated. Then we take the next step. But you are already in the colonialism debate.
No. I'm saying as long as their parameters set on.
No, I'm saying then don't look at the parameter because you are imposing that burden on somebody else.
I'm imposing the burden on you.
No,
it's me and you here talking.
That I'm equal to you, and we don't know what we don't know. So tomorrow I could be dead, and tomorrow you could be alive, but the journey continues.
Therefore, if the two blind men are leading each other, where are they going to go, Mr. Abdul?
No, that's what life is like.
One has to have one eye. Therefore, maybe we've got a focus.
I can never have your eye, but if you say you want to be a Christian, you just be a Christian, build your church. Don't call Jesus. He doesn't have a forwarding number.
I hear you.
Ask your pastor that can you give me a first class ticket to heaven? He doesn't have it.
His line of communication is prayers.
Huh?
His line of communication, his network is called praying.
Yeah,
whether he answers or not, that's the other thing.
Yeah, but don't ask a pastor what is the next thing after I build the church. Just go to church, man.
Yeah, because the fundamentals of a church I've already known. Can you imagine?
No, they are not known because there are people who build churches, temples, and don't attend. It's dead.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the first missionaries coming to, let's say, Africa and trying to put in Christianity without anyone knowing what Christianity was? Can you imagine the chaos that they endured for them to actually start to indoctrinate the people of what Christianity is, for them to start coming to church?
No, I'm saying is I don't even know what would then occupy anyone else.
Hence why the builder himself, he has to have those parameters.
That's the idea. All I'm saying is, imagine we are talking about something that actually you could say, yes, I want to be, and I want to be part of the future that I create in the present. To say, I will advertise to say, I had a discussion with Mawere, and I want to benefit from other ideas of what is colonialism and what it is not. And I don't have the answers. I just want to create a platform where we can, because if we can answer this question, then we can answer many other subsequent questions.
Yeah, I agree with that one. That's a very big and good question to ask first. Yeah. What is colonialism? Definitely,
that's right.
It's a very good one.
In search of a better understanding, or shared understanding on what colonialism is, because we don't have a shared understanding, but it's just the two of us. What about if the majority is on your side?
This is where the thing is. Would you then take, if we then discover that colonialism is what you were running away from, or afraid to say colonialism is?
Then I'm bound by the majority. I have to be majoritarian and say in our group, although my dissenting view is that colonialism does not exist, but I am satisfied that the majority, in their foolishness or wisdom.
No. You can't say foolishness and wisdom to cover the foolishness.
No, I'm saying either they are foolish or I'm foolish. Either they have wisdom or they don't. But because the majority have decided, for good or for worse, that this is how it should be, then I'm bound by it. But it may not change my views, but I'm now constrained.
But it has to change your views if you're bound by it.
No, it doesn't.
It takes away your free will.
No, I still remain an individual, but I won't say the majority view is what I have.
You still remain an individual that is bought into the synagogue principle, but does not belong.
I hear what you're saying, but I respect the differences.
But that does not solve anything, Mr. Mtum.
Followed by the difference.
No. But you cannot then belong to a synagogue that you do not believe that the synagogue turns around and becomes.
It's just a house. It's just a temple. So I don't believe in the synagogue. I believe in myself, because I have to present it myself there. But it doesn't mean I become the synagogue. No.
No. You cannot become the synagogue.
Yeah.
Because you're not bound by the synagogue principles.
That's right. But so I present myself at the synagogue
every weekend.
Yeah, and it's for my interest, not for the interest of the majority, because they don't bring me there.
I know, Mr. Mtum. No. You have to be bound by the principles of the synagogue for you.
And that part of the subject matters to discuss.
That's true.
Whether if you belong to a family, you have to agree with everything, or you learn to limit your arguments.
Yes, you limit your arguments because you're bound by the principles of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you put it that way, yeah.
Yeah. So that's all. If you are willing, then we become part of building a community of shared understanding on some of these complex matters that rarely are talked about and are interrogated. And I may accept what I think I know is the universe. Yet there could be other eyes I can use to look at the same facts.
To what end?
To the end that I become enlightened.
Enlightened is a very broad word. It's a general word. To what end?
No, the end is enlightenment, because I go to school not because 100% of the things I learn I'll use in life.
No, you go to school.
1%.
But you go to school to learn 100%, hoping that you get some sort of percentage residual knowledge.
So I don't. The end is an enlightened person becomes a luckier person. Okay. For you to be lucky, you must have knowledge.
If you put it that way,
yeah,
that is more understandable.
But you can't go
enlightened,
so that you become lucky. Luck can come to anyone. It can visit anyone, even without qualification.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a lesson of life.
I hear you.
Yeah. But when you are thinking together, you sharpen your thinking, you negotiate thinking. Like Moses Moore says it's like voting. You might not vote for Trump, but he wins. It doesn't mean you then support him. So he's just
no, but it doesn't mean that you start going against him when the votes have been announced.
You are now arguing. He's just saying a matter of fact.
No. He gave an example.
No, yeah, his example stands on its own. He is saying that the fact that you didn't vote for him, it doesn't fall into supporting him.
Yeah.
So Moses is just putting a statement. So it's not a subject for us to argue.
No. I don't know. Okay. I take that. I lose that one.
Some of the people may end up not supporting Trump, but supporting the views of Trump. Because Melanie is the only one maybe who's married to him. So the rest really, we have nothing to do with Trump.
So we go with the principles.
We go with the principles.
Okay.
But that lesson from Moses is fundamental.
Okay, I take that one, Moses.
Yeah. But that's what we're saying. Do you think it's important, Moses? Do you think it's important to build a circle around some of these intractable problems? Identity politics, citizenship, belonging, residence. What do they all mean? Diaspora, that when you leave the country, you're called diaspora as if you're diaspora yourself.
With me, I've always had a problem with that one, though.
No, I'm saying those are some of the subjects that we then tackle.
Yeah, then, no, I'm not. I'm just passing a thought.
Yeah, and then you present your views. Somebody presents his own views, and we have a conversation.
Yeah.
So Moses says, "I want to be," and Zed wants to be. So we organize ourselves. Moses, if we attain, we build a synagogue, but a virtual synagogue.
Wisdom Duma. Not a virtual Wisdom Duma, no. Not a virtual synagogue.
Because we have the technology to build this. Why go to a synagogue, a physical, and catch corona?
No, but it has to progress from virtual to something tangible.
Yeah, but that's when you are, inside the synagogue, then you can say, how big should it be? By things you do, not by things you say. That.
Okay. Still.
So a smart person will say, guys, I'm going to be the secretary. I'm going to take the names. Moses number 1, Z number 2, Tuma number 3. Then until we get to 10, we announce when we get to 10. Just, do you want to be part of this circle around a problem? Then we don't talk. We build institutions. Rather than people who ask, have you ever heard that when people come into a WhatsApp group, what is the group for? You know how annoying that question is.
Why does it annoy you?
You are already in the group. And you say I was colonized by the group tomorrow.
No, this is what I'm saying, that maybe our sickness as human beings.
Not our, just say I won't do that as set. That's all. You don't have to start imagining.
No, do you do that? Do you do that?
A grown up
do you do that, Mr. Mduma? Do you yourself do that?
I never ask. I just get on with it. And I ask stupid questions. Then other people say, why are you asking questions, not answering them? I said, no, if I answer them, then what is the point of being here?
So you just get in. So a group is created.
If I go to Japan, I just go with the flow.
And you do not ask what the group is for. I
can't say what is Japan for. My friend, where did you come?
No. Mr. Mduma, say that you turn around by asking your questions. You then work out. You then work out from the answers what the group is for.
I'm saying, guys, okay, who is who in the zoo? What do you do? I'm a doctor. I'm a nurse. And then I say, okay, next time I fall sick, I need you. But for now, please never mention that word again that you're a doctor.
But how many groups have you entered? Not by yourself, but being dragged into the group without knowing.
I'm never asked.
Do you then exit without asking?
No, I start contributing unless someone removes me.
What about if your contribution are deemed as disruptive to the group that was not meant for your questions?
Then I ask, how stupid are you? Imagine every time you don't like me, you have a coup d'etat. You throw me out like Mugabe.
Okay. Okay. This is how
celebrate diversity.
So you're saying the first thing you have to ask is what is the group for?
No, I ask who is who, guys. Let's introduce each other. Let's not say who is who, because I don't know you.
So are you saying that mostly, let's give an example of the WhatsApp group, that most WhatsApp group, when they are created and you're putting people in, you're supposed to say what the group is for before the person starts to say hi.
Human beings, you never ask. Then otherwise someone will say, you colonized me. So you just keep on with human beings. Okay, said like you introduced yourself, you came onto the show. You didn't ask me what is the show about, because if you are listening, you know what it is about.
Yes, but the disadvantage, Mr. Mduma, of a WhatsApp group is you do not have the ability of being a fly in the hole like a Facebook Live, like what you're doing at the moment. So with me, I was a fly in the hole first.
You start in the WhatsApp group, what is colonialism? You start asking yourself, guys. I had a very interesting conversation with Mawere, and we were talking about the need to build institutions around problems. Do you also have a problem? I don't want you to answer in this little group WhatsApp. I want us to go out and start building ourselves and have a conversation. Those who are for the idea that colonialism exists,
then you'll be branded as a colonialist, Mr. Mduma, for coming into foreign land and occupying them.
That please try something different and see what people say. and you say, okay, we want to have a debate, and we want to have a debate on the bullshit called global compensation deed. What is that? Imagine the idea behind the global compensation deed.
Global what?
Compensation deed for land.
To compensate who? Globally?
No. The government of Zimbabwe signed a contract.
Yes.
To compensate those who were dispossessed of land, but were not compensated for improvements.
But how far does the compensation go?
No, I'm saying the group is not about how far. The group talk about property. What is property? If you steal my property today, then promise to pay me later. What is that? What is that called?
That's isn't that a promise letter? A promise deed?
That's theft.
No. If you promise to pay later, Mr. Mduma, I have not breached the terms of the promise yet.
I can't go to cash and carry the goods, then keep them. Then years later, and then I say I'll pay you in future. When you took them, what was your state of mind?
No. Okay, no. You might have placed it. You might have landed wrong on my ears here. If I take your land,
I'm just saying
that's theft.
Yeah, it's theft.
Without promise.
When you pick, you must pay.
Yes.
Yeah, but when you pick and you don't pay, then you say it's irreversible. My theft is irreversible.
With compensation.
No, that I've stolen, the only thing I'll give you is the money. But in the meantime, I'm keeping the very property that you have built with your own sweat.
Yeah, that's not right.
But how many people understand it that way?
A few, especially when the possibility of compensation is when that word is introduced, we think maybe it's worth something. But when on terms of land,
you can't compensate me. But I can't go to go to a store and buy Coca-Cola, then say I'm compensating the store owner when I've taken it myself.
After theft.
No, I take it without the consent. Then I say it's mine because my grandfathers were born here and they must get compensation.
What is wrong with that, Mr. Bloom?
That's not property anymore, because property is not self-creating. A donkey cannot claim a gold ring. Have you ever seen a donkey wearing a gold ring?
No, but a human being can claim property.
Yeah, that's why you pay me, but you don't take the ring first. Then you sign a stupid agreement.
But a human being can claim property, though. Do we agree on that one?
You can't claim property that you didn't add, because the property is you. That's why they call it pursuit of happiness. You create property to pursue happiness. You store goods of value. But if I just throw a stone in your backyard, why would you pick it up? Do what with the stone? But if I left 2 diamonds there, I won't.
If I come to you and take your land, and it goes through 6, 7. Hold on. But if I come to you and take your land and it goes through 6, let's say 3 generations, 10 hands, yeah, of ownership, does that still make it your land?
No. What is property? Land is not yours. Land is a gift of nature. It becomes property. There's a rule of law.
Okay. If I take your property, yeah.
What is your property? Property is a creation of human creativity or human ingenuity. Property does not create itself. So for you to say land is property, I need the rule of law. I need the demarcation of that land. I need the property of that land. So all those things don't occur in the animal kingdom, but there's land in the animal kingdom.
Yes.
Yeah. No lion can say it's my land. Compensate me.
then my question becomes this, Mr. Mtuma. If I come to you and take your land that has been demarcated, land that has got paperwork that belongs to you,
How does it belong to you when you have not put anything on it?
No, I'm saying land that you have bought or land that you have demarcated and you have the right to that land.
You just take it as it is. You go to DRC, there's a lot of land that is not demarcated. Go there and take it. They won't even recognize you.
So that means now, as human beings, we can go around taking each other's properties. There's no matter because no one belongs. Land does not belong to anyone.
No, property is something else from the objects of nature.
Mm-hmm.
A mango is a mango, but it won't become mango juice.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, but don't come and drink mango juice for free and come to my cash and carry. Then you carry mango and say, "But I saw it for free in the jungle."
No, that wouldn't.
Jungle.
But you still not answering. If I come to you, Mr. Mtuma, and take your property, not land, your property. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what white people are complaining. That this is property, it's not land. How do you take an egg that is scrambled, then say, the yolk is mine?
This is what I'm going for. If I come to you and take your property, goes through let's say 4 generations, 10 hands it goes through of ownership. Yeah. Does that property still belong to you, or it belongs to the last person that holds the deeds that I've created myself?
No, heredity doesn't create a default claim in future.
So the land still belongs to you?
No, the land belongs to the person who puts the rule of law, because land, to become property, it requires the law. It requires title. Without the law, there is no property called land.
So you're saying that without, let's take an instance of animal farm. If animal farms, therefore the land does not belong to anyone. So whoever rules,
you can't
then
go
owns.
And say, but you took my land. Where were you when I took it? And you can't claim after 10 generations that the people who were there are my people. Who are you?
So the rule of law now becomes the defining of everything.
Without the rule of law, nobody will put a dam there. Nobody will put a road there, because they know they will lose it.
So anyone that runs animal farm becomes the supreme law creator of that time.
To court for you to know I'm the Lion King.
No, you do not.
Yeah. So I have no claim. So when there's rule of law, then people will take the land and beautify it, build houses, make choices. But once you make choices, then somebody says the choices you made it on my land. Who are you? I'm a little god. What makes you a little god? Because I was born in Zimbabwe.
So okay, let's put it in a scenario that we all understand.
No, that I understand, because you are talking alone so far.
How am I talking alone so far?
No, you can say this is how I understand. If you don't understand something,
so that we understand. Yeah.
No. So say I, because I.
No, but we have to arrive. We have to arrive at the similar destination for us to understand each other.
Oh no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is just talk in the singular. That's enough.
So let's put it this way. At this moment in time, does anyone own anything in Zimbabwe? Yes or no?
You're asking
I'm asking a very practical question.
No, does anyone own? Yeah, there are people who have property. There's rule of law. If there's rule of law, there's property.
There's rule of law.
Yeah, if there's rule of law, there's property.
No. There is rule of law.
That you can answer. There are people with different experiences.
No. This is why I'm asking you, because it's me and you talking.
I can't speak on behalf of Zimbabwe.
No. But you can speak on the behalf of this scenario that we have created.
No, I'm saying is the land only acquires.
Yes.
Property. It becomes property where there's rule of law.
Yes, and I'm asking whether is there anyone with property or land in Zimbabwe at this moment in time? With your thinking of land only acquires
it has been
when there is rule of law.
By ignorance. There are people who believe that government is an owner of land, is state property, and therefore.
But they're the creators of law.
Yeah, and they don't know that the very people who are talking are the creators of the law.
So if they are the creators of the law, that means at any time land can be taken away, land can be given according to how they wake up on what side of the bed they are feeling on today.
No. I'm saying to you, I'm saying to you that the issue of rights is a bigger subject that requires a better conversation. I think we're just provoking here. So you have understood that land and property need not be the same.
Yes.
And then we can dig deeper. What is property? What is object? What is land and object? And
for me to understand what you just told me, so I have to put it on my own practical mind, and that's why I asked the question. That if
I'm saying that can't. Then we are going into deeper into a subject where there's no interest group. So why don't we pose that as a possible question? Is land an object?
But you are leaving me, Mr. Mawere, you're leaving me with a question mark.
Yeah,
then I have to ponder it by myself, and we have to arrive to the.
That's what life is. Can you allow me to leave you with a question and then popularize the question?
No. That we can't live it like that.
Why should you be selfish so that the two of us become the universe?
No, we cannot be the universe. So that when we broaden, we understand where we stand. I have to
I don't even understand. We're just having a conversation. I'm saying let's have a bigger tent around this question because it's a bigger question that goes beyond you and I.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So let's not monopolize.
But you're the one that brought it on.
No, I was just provoking you to think, and
I'm provoking you back.
No,
and you are refusing.
Bilateral. Then imagine we convert 1.4 billion into two people talking like idiots.
Mr. Moore.
Yeah. Let's park in an organized manner.
I do not like question marks.
Yeah, but I'm saying
yes. It has to be a complete set.
Jesus left with a lot of question marks. They are not answered yet.
I don't think he left with. I don't think he left with question marks. Everything was done.
Why would you be crucified and you are the Son of God?
Because that was the only way to turn around and make.
But why would a smart guy possessed with superior intelligence not avoid the day of crucifixion?
Because he understood that the biggest miracle was for him to wake up in 3 days.
No, maybe he was talking about the uncertainties of life. That let's leave the questions to idiots, men of little faith. So if you don't know,
uncertainties, Mr. Mawere, only happens to mere mortals. They do not happen to gods.
That's right.
Gods are never uncertain.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's what I'm saying is that let's broaden, let's go to WhatsApp groups and raise the question in the best way you can on land. That you had one idiot saying, no, land is not property. And you believe land is property, it belongs to the anointed, the black people of Africa, the natives, that in Africa, the land belongs to Africans. In Europe, the land belongs to Europeans, period.
What makes land belong to anyone?
No, I'm saying is those are the questions that you can itemize and just do one thing. Imagine that you land. You know how much time we would have spent less on talking about things that we can talk as a community.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. Otherwise, it will be me and you, and our voices may be boring.
That's true.
So
I get it.
do you want to be part of this conversation on what you think matters and what we need to build to develop a shared understanding, not a common understanding?
I've said it in some doing. As long as the boundaries and perimeters have to be set, vision has to be put in. You cannot get into a scene. You cannot get. You cannot get.
You understand in the conversation again. I'm saying there are
no,
no.
I'm not. I'm not. You're asking me a definite a question.
Assume that there's nobody who knows more than you do.
Therefore, if there's no one that knows of more than I do, why would I want to turn around and be part of a community that I know more than it?
But how do you test without being part of the community?
Therefore, the more we do this, this is when you understand that that still sharpens my skill.
First, you must agree to be part of that conversation without rules, without any litmus test. Otherwise, the plane will never take off waiting for that Messiah to tell you.
That defeats any logical man.
No, but life is no logic. So please don't become life itself.
Mr. Moore, do you get into a bus without knowing where it's going?
That's what life is. You don't know when you're going to take off.
But have you done that before?
Yeah, I'm right now living life, reality life, and I don't know when I'm going
to No.
I entered life.
Yeah, no.
I don't know when I'm going to be thrown out.
But the perimeters of life when you entered it were there. Yeah.
No, I'm just telling you my side that I am in life without knowing my departure.
But did you? No one enters this.
Yeah. So then that tells you, a man of little faith, that let me just live life without asking somebody to define it.
Yeah, that takes faith. That is, you see, now we're getting into the faith department. That takes faith, the unknowingness, and believing in Jesus.
If you have no faith, why live life? Because life itself is uncertain.
But then on this synagogue, who was Jesus?
No, that's where we go. There is equals, is mortals.
We can't build a religion without God, then create God after the building has been built.
God is there for everybody. So I'm saying is just try to be different, and you discover that next week we will have 50 people talking about the same. And we'll have order because you have decided to be ordered. Right now you're becoming disorderly.
Oh, no. No. How? Why would you say I'm becoming disorderly?
Because first you must organize and raise the question that provokes.
You are being Jesus now. You are being Jesus. You're putting the perimeters of disorderly in order.
But I'm saying is every time I've met you, one day you ask your first to bang, the next day you ask the next day.
No. I'm still waiting for the first bank thing. Do you know why?
Waiting for who now?
I'm waiting for you.
No, never wait for any human being.
No, Mr. Moel. Well done. I'm waiting for you. You have not asked me why. What you're supposed to ask me is why First Bank.
No, I'm saying is there are many people who know about the story.
But
you know, I'm in life.
But the story is one-sided.
No, I'm saying one-sided. You are just talking about institutions.
This is why I'm saying you brought up the First Bank thing.
I'm just saying is it need not be me being the discussant. I may not need to be alive for the story to be told. Jesus does not need to be alive for him to be discussed.
Therefore, you have to tell the. You have to tell the.
He didn't write the Bible.
But you see But you see the confusion into it that we're finding ourselves in now with the same Bible that he did not write.
You are not even prepared to concede that life is, and say, let's say you can be the leader of that conversation to say, I want to dig deeper. I want to invite people who know something about this. But don't go to the founder or the percent, because he has already done what because there will not be first bank without somebody. There's nothing that starts with nothing.
That's true. I understand that.
Yeah. So if I know that, I know behind everything there's a story.
This is the story that actually turns around and
told by the people who lived it.
But who else is going to tell? Who else is going to tell
there
it?
There are many people who knew today there was no first bank. There was the first client. There's a first employee. You can ask them.
But no one is talking.
No, I'm saying it depends on if you said we are part of a community that is trying to document our stories. And we want to tell the story as in the eyes of the people, just tell it as it is. Then you find that it's changed.
Do you want the first bank story to be told by someone else whilst you are seeing the discrepancies in those stories?
No,
or you rather turn around and let the Bible be written by Jesus himself?
You learn something that if you start something, you don't have to be the storyteller of it, because it goes through different phases. And just founding or just a sperm donor does not become a parent.
But the parent has got more. The parent has got more possibility of becoming the biological parent.
No, I'm saying is just let the story that you have joined this institution to look at wealth, to look at financial services, and in this bank from day one, what would have informed Mawere not to be a director of the bank, not to be an officer of the bank? That is a big story, you know that.
I know. Seeing that the person has got a banking background.
No, it has nothing to do. If I were the bank, I would have been the CEO.
This is what I'm trying to say.
No, but you don't have to ask me. You said there's an important lesson to learn from this about the role of the diaspora. Mawere was not living in Zimbabwe. Yet he had the wisdom to put a foundation to a bank that he didn't want to be part of.
This is what I'm saying, Mawere. That you are running away from, big man. If this is why the curiosity is.
No, I'm saying is you are now part of a community, not a dead. Because the next person who says, Mawere, I want you to ask the same question, I have to stop and answer the same question. Then we can document it so that for the future, it will be a conversation that in and organized, so that Z is not the only one with question.
I hear you.
Yeah. Isn't that fair that we organize ourselves so that we have a story? That's why even the Bible doesn't change, but people go to church to get an interpretation of the same Bible, not by the one who lived it.
That's why there is confusion, Mr. Weather. That's why there's confusion in the story of one.
No, I'm saying that's why
with four stories.
No, I'm saying let's not talk about confusion when we are not causing it. The people who go to church are not confused. They're not now.
Okay.
Yeah. So let us be builders so that stories can be told in a structured and organized manner.
I'll wait for that story.
I don't have to repeat myself.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So Z will be the one who will be written. That was a conversation with Z, but there may be more questions. But these were the questions that were answered when he was alive.
No, I don't want it to be known that I was the one that was part of it. To me,
No,
it's
I'm saying
just
you are the one who built around institution building, because we're trying to find why are people poor? Why do institutions made by men end up people divided?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why be part of a community to look at financial services. How do we build confidence? Why would someone set up a bank and not want to be part of it? Not put his own uncle, his own cousin, his own brother, his own son to be the CEO?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a question
And
for you to answer.
Find that in First Bank there is no Mawere there. And my relatives are angry that you set up an institute of Torwa.
That is your song to sing. You're the only one that knows what line to sing it.
It's a natural progression. You see. So I'm saying is that just let's stop repeating ourselves on the same issue. Let's try to organize our thoughts, and let's try to negotiate our thoughts. You got my number, so you can WhatsApp me so that we can talk to issues. If it's newspapers that raise questions, then you are saying let's use this as a conversation point.
I hear you, but I was still asking questions on the side.
No, I'm saying is make the questions so that they are inclusive. Other people may want.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but if it becomes you, then it becomes there is no succession. There's no storytelling.
No, with me, it's the story behind it that is more interesting than anything else.
No, but I'm saying is just take the story as told by Jesus. Don't go behind whether they was talking to God or not.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay, then, Mr. Mawere.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.